What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and let's get straight into things. So you can see how this today we had a large expansion to the downside, just as anticipated, running right down into the south side liquidity targets I drew our attention to in yesterday's video. So what's interesting to see is how the week is playing out, how I was expecting in terms of creating the high in this premium PD array, and now I'm starting to look to see if we can reach down into our south side liquidity target, which is our south side target. So if we go to the weekly, you'll see that I've got this fair value gap marked out between this high and low. Definitely go check out the weekly review if you want more context. But basically, this is where I'm expecting the draw on liquidity to be, and we're starting to see that happen after today's expansion. We're looking like we're going to close below this low as well, which is nice to see, meaning that within this range of this wick right here, it should be a breaker. So what do I mean by that? Well, we have a high, we have a low, we have a high, and then we've closed on the downside. Well, ideally we're going to close on the downside, so below it. So the fact that that's going to happen means that we need to look at this range now to find some kind of PD array, ideally a breaker, a down close candle that we can key off to send price lower. And then based off that, as price trades into that on dollar, we can be looking for potential longs on the pairs to continue to the upside. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's go down to the 4 hour, and you'll see this is the last down close candle before the up move, before this expansion, right? So this is the breaker we're looking at. I'm going to only focus on the wick. Wicks are gaps too, so it should act as a bearish fair value gap basically, so we can drag that out like so. And then I'm looking to see if price can retrace back into this range to give us setups for potential shorts. So let's just make that all the same color. Another thing to take note of is the fact that we've filled this fair value gap, which I drew our attention to yesterday as well. We've completely filled it, and the fact that we're inside of it now means that the high of it, and I'll show you what I mean by that, the high of the fair value gap, I'm looking to provide resistance. So if we trade back up into here again, I'm expecting that to help send price lower in line with this bearish order block as well. Now technically it's not bearish order block because we haven't taken out the low yet, I repeat. However, on the low time frames there will be an up close candle there that should act as a bearish order block, but nonetheless I'm expecting low prices. So let's drop down to the 1 hour, and you can see how we're just consolidating around that range. We also have a down close candle right here, right at the high of the fair value gap, which is what I was talking about. That can act as a breaker as well. So again, if price wants to retrace back into there, that would be some nice shorts and opportunities to help send it lower. However, it wouldn't surprise me if price just fell straight out of bed. And what I mean by that is if price just started running as soon as we got into Thursday for the south side liquidity target. If that does happen and we do reach down here on Thursday, then non-farm payroll will probably pull us in another reversal, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, I'm not going to talk about that just yet. We'll wait till Thursday trades, but that's how I'm looking at price, because as far as I'm concerned, this should be the end of week target, as in this should be the low of the week. But if we get there on Thursday and we've got non-farm payroll the next day, it will be very interesting. So that's something to pay attention to. Another thing we want to take note of is the fact that we're now below the Sunday opening price, which is right here. So and look at how price traded back into it and used it as resistance. So the fact that we're below here again is going to add a confluence as to why we want to see continued low prices until our sell side targets get traded to, and then we're either going to get a continuation or a reversal, and that will likely be off the back of non-farm payroll. So I hope that all makes sense. Let's now head on to GBP USD. We'll start on the weekly here as well, and you can see how GBP failed to take out highs whilst dollar was taking out lows. Now, so let's go straight to the daily. What's interesting about pound is that we have interest rate announcements tomorrow. So Bank of England interest rates decisions are tomorrow. So that's going to cause a lot of volatility. The fact that they're holding pound in consolidation, but dollars over there taking out lows, what does that hint to us? Well, that suggests that it'll likely have to catch up off the back of it. So it's going to use the news as sentiment to ideally drive it higher. Now, that's not me saying interest rate announcements on pound are going to send it higher. I'm not saying that. However, based off the way price is moving and the way we're being held in consolidation, it would have to catch up with dollar if dollar is to continue with that kind of bearishness that we're seeing. So paying very close attention to that. And then that's when I'm going to start looking at this range to get traded to. So let's go to the 4 hour. And you'll see this swing high right here that we're just below still. Again, ideally we find support on that. We do have these two candles are a breaker. Why? We've got a low, a high, a lower low, and then price hasn't gone lower since. So if we manage to take out this high, then we'll be looking at this range right here to provide support. And you can see we're just hovering around that right now. So let's just color that in. and we can look at the 50% level of that, and ideally that will help provide support as well to send us where into this buy side. And then I'm looking at that buy side target as well in line with dollar. So yeah, pretty simple on GBP, nothing too crazy. Again, you can see we're still in that consolidation, but like I said, considering we have high impact news and it's at 7 a.m, we need to see where price is. If we're still below this low, if we're still below this high and dollar's showing the right amount of bearishness, then there'll be no reason we couldn't look for a potential setup there. And based off how aggressive they want to be, we could also end up running for these highs as well. So that's going to be everything on pound. I hope that all makes sense. Also pay attention to this order block as well. Ideally, price shouldn't need to come back down into this fair value gap. If this gets left open, this will be what we call a breakaway gap, and I'll talk on that tomorrow if that's the case. It's as simple as, let's say price doesn't trade higher and we trade lower. If we start running lower and take out this fair value gap, I'll simply use this fair value gap as resistance and go short. It's really as simple as that, guys. These PD arrays should be continuously supporting price. So as soon as one gets disregarded, that means it's likely we're on the wrong side of the market, and we can adjust to that accordingly. But weeks like these, I wouldn't be trading anyway. Let's finish up on Euro USD. We'll start on the weekly here as well, just to see how price is delivering. You can see how we came down, grabbed those stops, came off of it now. Let's go to the daily, and you can see that Euro has managed to take out highs, which pound hasn't again. So Euro and dollar in line, because dollar's taken out lows, Euro's taken out highs, but pound hasn't. And what does pound have tomorrow? Interest rates. So let's put two and two together. Anyway, now I'm simply looking at this buy side liquidity to get taken. I will keep that there just for now, just so we can take a look at the low time frames. And then obviously I'm expecting to reach up into this potential buy side. So let's go to the 4 hour. Very heavy consolidation on Euro. Have to be very careful. But look at this. Look at how we're respecting this. What is that? 1 hour fair value gap maybe? I'm not even sure what I've delineated here. Interesting. Anyway, we'll go to the 4 hour nonetheless first. And yeah, I'm just expecting higher prices, obviously in line with pound. But I can imagine pound will have most of the movement because that's the one with the high impact news. And then these are our premium PD arrays to start thinking about. So we have this up here, nice fair value gap. And then we also have this gap right here as well as our first fair value gap. So if we get through this, then I'll be looking at this. And let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, very ugly price action. Nonetheless, this should act as a breaker. So I'll be watching this the same way I was watching the same level on pound. This should act as support. Why? Because we have a low, we have a high, we have a lower low, we've broken higher, we have a bullish bias. This should now provide support because it's a breaker in line with the bullish order block as well. So anytime price dips back into here, we should be safe to accumulate. But again, if we disregard it and we trade lower, we use it as resistance and we're likely on the wrong side. But you can see how much consolidation we're in. So this is very difficult conditions, guys. Do not kick yourself about it and do not stress over it, because they're obviously doing some crazy manipulation and I could be completely wrong right now. It's just what I want to see happen. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope that all makes sense. Let's quickly add GBP to the chart and dollar whilst we're here and just take a look at how these lows are forming. So this is that same low. Euro, this low here on Euro is this low. Oh no, sorry. This low on pound, and then that means that's this high on dollar. And then we can find divergence, can't we? So dollar's taking out highs, Euro's taking out lows, but what's pound done? Pound's, yes, technically it's taking out the low, but it's showing more strength, right? This is also in line with our bias, so we can add that to our confluence. We'll talk more on this tomorrow if price plays out. If not, then oh well, it is what it is. We keep moving. But yeah, hope you found this insightful. Don't forget to smash subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment, join the Discord, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace. Stay safe.